Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Kaempf, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. That's right, we are still on the heels of those pesky Sasquatch hunters, but I know for a fact this episode tonight, right here that you're listening to, folks, this will bring us to the apex. This is, of course, Business Over Beer. I'm your co-host, Ben Surratt, and alongside me is the man of the hour, the terror of power. Some people call him the space cowboy. Some people call him the Ozark howler. But we, of course, call him Spartacus. Jonathan Kaler, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, Ben. Thank you, as always, for that lovely introduction. I can't wait to look that one up and figure out what names you're calling me tonight. We're drinking on a Wednesday, podcasting on a Wednesday. I've been thinking about this as we've been leading up to this. I think this is the first ever Wednesday podcast that we've done. We've done a lot of Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays, Mondays, but I don't think we've ever done a Wednesday. So that's pretty awesome.
Dude, yeah, well, this is it. This is going to bring us past the Sasquatch hunters then.
Maybe this is the magic that gets us over the top.
Agreed.
And here we are in a magical season. It's the gift. It's the season of giving. And with us, of course, is the ultimate gift that keeps on giving. We know him as the gangsta of Hazeldale. Are you guys down with the K and OPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Jason Kaempf, welcome back to Business Over Beer, my friend. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty damn good, Ozark Howler. I appreciate the introduction. And I can't wait to look that one up, too. I was dying. Short week this week. And what's better than drinking a hump day? You know?
Hey, tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. Exactly. So we might as well drink today.
Let's drink tonight. And let's drink with our guest. We have Jake Kaempf, owner of Amprsnd, owner and founder of Amprsnd, Portland, Oregon. How you doing tonight, Jake?
Doing pretty well. Thanks for the introduction, though. I feel like I need a nickname after that introduction.
OG.
You will after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nicknaming committee hasn't really convened for a while. So, with the chairman of the nicknaming committee, he's been on vacation. So sorry we didn't come prepared with a nickname for you, but
no, it's okay. I've been burdened with the fact that my entire life no nickname has stuck.
Huh.
I am simply Jake.
So we'll just go with Jake. Perfect.
Simply Jake.
It's so boring. I've had people try to get them to stick. My best friend became my brother-in-law, and he had 1,001 nicknames, and they never stuck.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Simply Jake, we always like to start the Business Over Beer podcast with your business. So as owner and founder of Amprsnd, why don't you share with us sort of the 50,000-foot view of your business and kind of what you're into?
Yeah, Amprsnd is a brand development company. We specialize in insight, strategy, and implementation of brands. Right? Our little niche is that basically leading off with the factoid that if you ask 1,000 people to describe brand and define what it is, you get 2,000 answers. Yeah. Most of the time, in our field, we get people that think of design, and that's a great part of it. There's a lot of wonderful people doing it, but we consider that kind of the pointy end of the spear. So we've been defining, better measuring, and really developing strategies to build brands that are more, I would say, cohesive to the operational and the financial strategy that goes on within organizations.
That's awesome. I mean, and I think from a branding standpoint, there's a lot of feelings of sort of fluffiness and frou-frouiness to it, you know, and obviously a lot of people associate the logo with the brand, right? And I think that's kind of what you were talking about, the creative and design element of it. I love that you guys talk about measuring brand. How does that sort of manifest itself in your business? How do you guys measure brand?
Well, I mean, complex question, right? With a overly simplified straight line that we like to offer to people. But at the end of the day, we break it down to how do you define it, right? And you have to start there, right? Like with anything is before you start talking about how you do something, you have to know where you're going with that. And for measurement, you know, we always talk about, you know, what is it that people use to describe the various elements of perception, right? What a company gives off, what a person gives off. And that's where we start with brand, right? And so we deal with perception, right? And how do you break down perception? You know, what are what we call signals, right? So for us, the signals of an organization, of a person, of whatever it is, a company, a business, a shoe, right? That comes down to a few basic categories of perception. And that's social, emotional, and functional aspects, right? Is all of us perceive every instance in those three factors, right? It's like function. We would all like to believe that we are functional humans, like we look and we evaluate something realistically. You know, it's like, why do I like this hat? Well, it's going to cover my head, you know, keep me from the sun. It's going to do this, you know, it's going to fit nicely. It's going to be comfortable. And then, you know, sometimes it's like, well, that color looks really nice on me, you know, or like that fit is good, or like, hey, it complements my eyes. It really brings out the blue, you know. So you bring out those emotional sides, and then you have the social side of whether or not somebody you know bought it, right? And whether or not there's influence there. And so we really start by breaking it down into those aspects and seeing how people perceive a various element, a various market, and then we build it up.
Awesome, man. That is so cool.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to get into a lot more about your business and kind of your journey into entrepreneurship. But this is the Business Over Beer podcast. This is the beer portion of the program. We ask all of our guests to bring a beer to share. Jake Kaempf, have you brought us a beer to share?
I have.
Yes.
I have brought us the Bad Hombre Mexican style lager. All right. Now
I have one.
You have
Jake,
one.
Simply Jake has one. Canope has one. What's up, Ben? You're not drinking with us tonight?
Well, no, I'm drinking.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have the Mexican lager, but since I am in Wisconsin and I am in Oshkosh, I do have the Oshkosh lager.
Nice. So why
Yes.
why the Bad Hombre? What's the significance other than the fact that it's a totally awesome can? What's the story with the Mexican style lager?
Well, we have to address the bolo tie that it has on the front of the can, because that's phenomenal. Honestly, it gets back to my root of drinking. We kind of talked about it a little bit in the opening, but I'm an Oregonian, born and raised here in Portland. And, you know, one of the things we're famous for is our beer, very hoppy beer, microbrews, you know, this beautiful scene with a lot of very talented people brewing. And I don't like them. I'm not a big hops guy. And this, in my entire life, I've lived in the tropics. I've traveled around, and I always gravitate more towards these cleaner, crisper lagers. I like them. They're sessionable. They're easy. They don't give me a hangover. I don't feel like I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner every time I drink a beer. And that's kind of how I drink, right? I'm not the type of person that comes home and I just pour myself a drink. But if I'm with people that are drinking, hell yeah, I enjoy them as much as anybody. But Mexican style lagers are always that. And so when you guys connected with me, I felt like I needed to bring something more special to the table than Dos Equis. You know, I went and looked for something fancy. The bolo tie stuck out, but really what I love, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is, you know, German heritage. The Mexican style lager is a kind of deviation from a German style lager. It's something that we all associate with good times, you know, enjoying with friends, sessioning them. So I figured nothing would be better than with you three guys in a Mexican style lager.
Oh,
Well,
cool, man.
That's great, man. Well, here's to you on that. Prost, gentlemen.
Prost.
Prost.
Oh, so you guys got glasses.
We're snobs.
That's good. That's good. See, one of the things that reads on the back is that if you add lime, what is it? This beer is classy, made for winners. Wait. Where are we? It has it written out, right? The fake news will tell you that clear beer is weak. That is only what losers would say. This beer is classy, made for winners who like the beach. Salute. There's something in there about a lime wedge. I think it's at the beginning.
Yeah, it's right at the beginning.
Yeah.
This beer is bad, dangerous, and if you add a lime wedge, it's out of control.
There you go. I made mine out of control.
Well, what do you think, Kenote? This beer's got to be right up your alley.
It's got to be, dude.
Very crisp, refreshing. I can see how you could sit on the beach and slam these all day long. It's easy to drink. That's nice.
I mean, it's no Schlitz,
No.
but as far as lagers go, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, we had Schlitz on this show, Jake. That was one of our Angie's mystery beers once upon a time, but that's neither here nor
True
there.
story.
Almost ruined me for lagers, but that's not that far of a stretch anyway. But yeah, it's super refreshing. I mean, it's super clean. It's light bodied, but it's got flavor. It's not Corona. It's a little bit, it's a little bit of beer, it's enough to let you know it's there, but still refreshing and clean and true to the style. So it's a nice little beer. Drink about 1 or 15 of these.
So 15 of them. See, I wonder if it tests or if it would pass the lager test or the beach test, which is 15 of these deep, a case at the beach, drinking the lukewarm last third of it. Right at the end of a long day, a little bit sunburned. Are you still going to enjoy this? A little bit of sand blowing in your face. That's the true test, I feel like, of a Mexican style lager.
Absolutely. Well,
True.
I wish it wasn't the middle of winter and we were all sitting on the beach, but
right. I have to talk to all my friends in Hawaii, and they get to do what I used to do to them, which is, oh, really? It's cold there? Like, I'm in my board shorts. Yeah.
How's your Oshkosh lager, bro?
Very Oshkosh lagery. I mean, it is.
Is this made by the town of Oshkosh, or is there a particular brewery, or what is this?
Oshkosh lager is crisp, refreshing, and brewed in the same style as the classic pale lagers that made Oshkosh famous for its beer. This smooth, easy drinking lager will appeal to anyone who still loves the taste of real beer.
Ooh, there you go.
How's that for branding, Jake?
Well, I mean, it was fine if you're speaking to the crowd that already knows it, but is Oshkosh famous for beer?
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
I mean, we established like children's overalls, yes, but beer, I don't know about that.
No, it's actually, to be honest, I'm just messing around. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
Cool.
It slides down. I mean, it is crisp. It's clean. It's I wish it were a little bit colder, like the beer a little bit colder, but it's all right. It tastes like a state fair beer. You know what I'm saying? You could have it at the state fair. Couple of brats.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
You're in Wisconsin. Why didn't you just put it outside in the snow for about 15 minutes?
I
man?
did
That
for a
would've
little
been-
bit. I did for a bit, but it's only 45 today.
Oh, that's right. It's unseasonably warm, isn't it?
Mm.
Oh, that the
So,
state
Jake.
standard hits. Yeah. Go ahead.
Simply, Jake, what led you to branding and taking that into the entrepreneurship and starting your own business?
Brand, I've been obsessed since I was a kid. Right, I didn't even know it. I had my grandma, rest in peace, Winifred. She was the most badass woman in the entire world, but I don't think she ever considered design a part of life. She was the type of woman that, you know, towards the end of her life, you would just find her sitting with some Eastern European novel, like sitting in her chair, like talking about the hard times, right? And, but when I want to say 16, 17, around there, she bought me this book, this purple book. It still sits on my shelf, and it was from the Kellogg School at Northwestern. And I just, you know, I wasn't the best student. I wasn't the most enthusiastic student, but I picked up this book and I just dove into it, read all about it. It was like, oh, this is the most amazing thing. And then I realized it was a textbook from a graduate school. And I was like, what in the hell happened there? Like, that is not normal. And I really didn't even connect the dots even then, right? This is just me being slow on the uptake. And I went out to New York for school, was in the design field. And, you know, I was just always a pain in the ass. I was good at design. I was good at direction. I was good at these things, and started working and doing all that. And I'd always ask too many damn questions. Like, but why are you designing it? But why does this make sense? It's like, but are we making money off of this? Like, does this make business sense? And I'd always done stupid little entrepreneurial things when I was a kid, right? Like, my science teacher ran into my mom and was talking about how I used to sell tickets to this hearing thing, like the bionic ear, on trips to like make people do shit in like the 5th grade. I started like a little magazine of cutout Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues for my friends. Like, I would like make color coded issues based on it. Like, I was just always had something going, but I knew how to like sell it and distribute it amongst my friends. And there's probably a few nefarious things that I did that I'm not going to mention on a podcast too. But regardless, I always asked the question. And I remember I was in college in New York amongst all these very talented, very intelligent people. And this teacher of mine called everybody out. And he was like, nobody knows what logos and things they're wearing. And he was very like obnoxious in that manner. He was like trying to tell everybody how stupid we were. He was like, see you, man? He's like, your Nike swoosh, like, you don't even know what they do. And it was like right when Nike's whole like manufacturing in China and that sweatshop thing came out. And I was like, I'm actually from Portland, Oregon. They were founded there. These are test sneakers. Like, I'm like the test size right now. He's like, whoa, what about your shirt? And I was like, well, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. These are a bunch of trees. Like, I'm actually very much representative of like, and he went down the line, and I was like, I'm very deliberate and intentional with what I do. And I realized at that point that I was like, oh, I do make these decisions. I wonder if other people do. And so, long story turning into a shorter one, I worked in the design world, worked in the marketing world, worked in accounts, worked as a production assistant, basically as a director's bitch. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. hauling sandbags on commercials. Worked as an illustrator. Worked in mortgages. I have my mortgage license, so I worked in finance for a little bit. Did all these things, and then I just realized that there was like this like Venn diagram that overlapped, and that was brand. And that was where these things coalesced, which was finance, operations, and demand creation, where everything came together and had to make sense, right? Where a financier can be like, we got to make money, but then people don't want to invest. Where an operations person is like, this is what's going to make most sense and be most efficient, but yet people don't buy in because they don't want to. And then people on the marketing side where it's like, this will sell all the widgets in the world. I was like, yeah, but you're lying to them and people don't believe in it. It was like, and all that overlapped right at the center with brand. Whereas like, how do we be honest? And like, I would have clients tell me on the advertising side, like, just sell the product. I was like, fuck you. I was like, I'm not going to sell your bullshit. I was like, if you make sense on the business side and you'll actually do good by your people, yes, I will help you do that. But it was like, but I would stand back and be like, there's not a chance in the world I'm going to help you peddle bullshit onto people. Right. And to me, that was always brand. And it was more than just like, oh, how do you like sear your iron into the side of a piece of meat brand? And it was more, how do you get to the core of what the founders are about? How do you get to the core of the culture of the people that actually work for you? Right. And like we talked about it earlier, I think one of you said kind of jokingly, right, is, you know, the frothiness of branding and the frothiness of beer. There's that interlinking little bit, but you have so many people that approach branding, especially like designers that are very talented, but they approach it and they select like a musical lyric. Like, oh, get a Drake lyric, have that represent your company, and then everybody's going to buy in. It's like, how does that relate to anything other than selling people a myth, a false idea of your company? And so when I founded Amprsnd, right, which is kind of getting to the core, it was exactly what an ampersand is. Do you guys know what an ampersand is?
Yeah. It's
the and symbol, right?
Yeah, it's that thing.
Exactly, right? The and symbol. And I only ask because some people don't, right? And it's fairly obscure, but
I only know it because
Wheel of Fortune.
Pat Sajak used to call it out on Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
There you go, Ben. Ben, get out of my head, witch.
Shout out to Pat Sajak.
That's the first Pat Sajak shout out on this show. That's for sure.
And Alex Trebek. May he rest in peace.
Oh, may he rest in peace. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so the ampersand, right? I was looking for something when I founded this that there was like a bridge. I was tired of people using their names, having some obscure or irreverent like name of what they were. You know, I'm not even going to name it because I'm not going to call people out like that. But I was tired of that because they were all trying to be representative of something that was obscure. I wanted to be a bridge, a connection, something that blended, you know, was at the center of that Venn diagram that I talked about. And, you know, it was like, do I call myself plus? No. Addition? No. And then the ampersand stood out. I had a friend who's now really high up at the the WSL, the World Surfing League or something. I forget the exact name of it, but he's a really talented, really brilliant guy, rich. And he kind of brought up the ampersand in discussion. I was like, that's it. All right, it's the ampersand. And it has this great story. And I was like, I wanted to be this bridge where I would have my clients first, you know, Nike and then whatever we would produce for them. You know, it was like business over beers and then whatever we did, right? And the work. And I wanted to be a bridge, not so much a like, I want to take control and proselytize how great I am, right? So, yeah, so that's that.
Was it a big leap?
Yeah, I would say it was. I was ending my tenure with a marketing firm that I worked for and had disagreements and all these things. And, you know, I sat down kind of looking at what I was going to do. And I was actually outside of my family's house and I ran into a woman that is still very instrumental in my life. Her name is Kate Delhagen. Shout out to Kate. She runs Oregon Sports Angels. She was working at Nike at the time, and she's one of the most direct people, not very Pacific Northwest in that respect. I think she's actually, well, I know that she went to a very good school out on the East Coast, and she's very direct in the way she speaks. And she saw me, and I was like relatively put together. She's like, Jake, do you want to work for Nike or do you want Nike to work for you? I don't even know if she'll remember this, right? Because I was like peons to her at the time. And I was like, well, I want Nike to work for me. Who doesn't want that? You know, it was like, I definitely want them to work for me. Like everybody works for them. And so she gave me my first little inroad working for like the wholesale department. And then with that, it was like off to the races with shit I didn't know how to do. I had no idea. Like, I hadn't taken an entrepreneurial class. I hadn't founded a company. I didn't know about all the letters and stuff. And it was just like, cool. Like, I got to go online and like, I got to talk to people and I got to like fail miserably multiple times before I figure out like what I'm actually doing. And so a leap, no, because it felt right. But in not knowing what the hell I was doing and taking that risk, yeah. Like there are so many smarter people than me in this world that were so much better prepared that probably should have done it and would have done it better. But I just kind of had to. So
it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, right?
God, yeah, in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you say that, but you know, it's such a familiar story, and the more founders that we talk to on the show, you know, it's both entertaining and encouraging to hear that so many founders go through the same thing, that
Amen, brother. Amen.
They take this leap, they don't know where it's going, they don't know how to do it. But they have such a passion and a belief in what they're trying to do. I mean, I think we've gone through that over the last year. Like, we don't know how to podcast. Who the hell are we? We don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna jump in and make mistakes and kind of figure out as we go. So, you know, I just think it's funny that story is just so familiar with so many founders, and of course it's encouraging to me, somebody who's still in sort of that very early stage. I mean, we've been doing this, like I said, just for about a year, and there's a lot of, I have no idea what we're doing. You know, I know where I want to go. You know, tactically, some of the things we need to do, I know how to do it, but man, like a lot of the big stuff, it's a lot of failure every single day.
Yeah.
You know, as you try to hone in on exactly getting on the train tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like this podcast is coming at a very interesting time, right? Both for the world and the country. And, you know, I'll be the first person to say that I'm an obstinately proud American, right? You know, in that respect, like I'm very much proud, right? Like I have been my whole life, because it's provided me so much opportunity and privilege and all of these things, right? But one of the things, just bringing it back to entrepreneurship, is, you know, how many places in this world, how many opportunities can you have? Like how many places provide the opportunity to be able to look at something in that manner? Like, I'm going to try this and I'm going to fail, right? Or I'm going to try this with the opportunity to fail, but then have the things, you know, built out that we can, you know, that we can seek, you know, pursue those dreams, right? Pursue that happiness, whatever it is, and come back to center and be like, okay, we have this opportunity, right? And to that point, I think one of the larger kind of narratives going on right now is providing that for more people.
Correct.
Right. And that's truly what the fight is right now, is like making sure that we all understand that, like, this is great. And it's been great in our worlds, but like doubling down on that is what's important right now. Right. It's not like continuing to divide us. It's continuing to realize the things that we believe in should be that way for the rest of the world, and it should be that way for everybody in this country, right? And I think that that's something, like, from the entrepreneurial side, getting into the deeper elements, right? To what we were talking about, of like why you did it, why you would even pursue it, why you would take that on, why you guys are taking that on with business over years. Right? And the various elements that you guys are undertaking in the larger aspect, well, we have the opportunity, right? And if you can create that, what can you create for other people? And so when, with Amprsnd and the bridge idea and the foundational element, one of our like core pillars is add value, right? And it's add value because we want to make sure that every person that comes within our system, whether they work with us and give us income, or whether we just, impart a conversation on them, or they do to us, that we are adding value to our world, right? And I think being an entrepreneur, to the earlier question, is one of the most fundamental positions within this country, within this world, within this life, that allows you to truly affect change, right? So many people, and it's like so many people can tell you how they're like going about doing it. You have lawyers and social workers who are fighting a good fight and doing great. I'm not taking away from that, but it's like, but if you can start a business, run a business, expand that business, and you can dictate, right? And dictate's a harsh word right now, but you can like help influence at least how that goes to empowering the people that work for you, how that leads to their employment, how that affects their lives, right? And then your customers, and then your clients, and you can extrapolate from there. That's one of the greatest things about being an entrepreneur. That's one of the great things about having a small business, right? And so when we talk about this backbone of America being small business, it's more about that aspect, right? It's the convergence. We hire people. We provide jobs, sure. Not as much as Walmart, but fuck Walmart. Right? But
well, there goes that sponsorship.
no, but like I love them. Like they did great in their own respects. Like I'm not actually against all of that, but like at the same time, it's like, okay, you employ 100,000 people. Great. But allow for other people to come up and employ people in different ways, right? Like that's what we're looking for, because it allows you to touch the microcosm, to represent Oshkosh. Like there are nuances of Oshkosh lager that are probably less nuanced than just Oshkosh culture, right? And when we start talking about brand and culture, it's like we do a lot of internal brand, where we go into like studying the absolute, like the culture idea, a culture, DEI programs within organizations. But so many people.
DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's ironic coming from a bald white guy, right? But so often we try to bring just this philosophy to it, which is affect real change. Don't be one of those people. And we all know those people because, we're represented by a lot of them. But we wanted to found Amprsnd to be that thing that asks hard questions, that implements it, that will take a sideline when we're not there. But with DEI, with culture building, right? Is like you have to sit there and you have to actually say, like, ask the real question. Is like, is this program going to affect change for the better of your company? Or are you doing this to check some box off? Right? And like, oh, cool, I did this program, or I hired these people. It's like, so you did it once, what? It's like, that's not affecting real change. And to us, right? And like, that's getting back to brand, which is, how do you take that convergence of finance, operations, demand creation, and make it permeate through every aspect of the business?
I love what you say on your website, where you say we're founded with a simple mission in mind to bridge the gap between organizations and people. And I think what you just talked about is really at the core of that. And it's not simple at all. It's obviously simple in words, but it's not a simple mission. It's an extremely challenging mission, especially given the nature of the world that we're facing today. And so I commend you for taking on that mission and working towards some of those things. So I love hearing that. I mean, that's the type of community. I mean, that's what we talk about. We talk about the small business community, and making sure that we're all helping each other, that we're all, we're all rising the tides together. And it sounds like that's sort of what's at the heart of your mission as well there at Amprsnd.
Yeah, 100%. That, and at the end of the day, building our clients' businesses, right? At the end of the day, we're a business, and that's definitely at the mission. So definitely at the core of it, right?
Sure.
How do you interlock those two? So I appreciate that, right? And at the end of the day, it is the small business. It is the people, right? So a guy I work with actually put it best. Let me digress a little bit. He's a wonderful guy. Met him actually over margaritas in Camp Sherman, like about a year ago, right? I was out there and my family hadn't showed up. I had parked my car, taken my bike down towards the Metolius. You guys know Camp Sherman?
Yeah.
All right, so Camp Sherman is right near Black Butte, right under Black Butte, I should say. And I've been going there since I was a kid. And so we had this grandiose thing. We left all the dogs at this place, and I rode my bike over there because my family was like 3 hours late, or I was just early. It's like German in me. Like, I'm on time means you're 15 minutes early.
Is that right, Kaempf? That doesn't sound right for you, bud.
I was gonna say, dude.
Not so much for me, but
All right,
And it means you're hungry all the time.
You're from the Couve. I'm from Portland.
He's part of the Portland German heritage.
The Portland German heritage.
A little different than the Couve.
just
No, I
don't
come
be
from a
late for
very-
a train. You have to be early for trains because they leave on time. That's German.
There you go. But anyways, we were out there. I rode my bike down and I was waiting. I was just picking up a bunch of takeout for them because we didn't have time to go to the store and cook or anything like that. And there's actually a little Mexican joint right there next to the Metolius. So I picked up a mojito or two, and these people sat next to me, and I'm clearly talkative. I said, "Hey, what you doing?" Met this guy and his wife, and they were just kind of taking a break for a couple of days and hit it off. And it was wonderful. And we were, she was cooking later. We had the margaritas. It was wonderful. And we exchanged numbers because he was like, "Oh, I work in business." I was like, "Oh, I run my own." And fast forward, he's investing in this amazing new company. They're releasing a new trash can where they've put in a ton of money into studying how they can increase the ergonomics of the trash can, right? The manufacturing is better. The design is better, right? And it comes from the guy who founded it and designed it, owns a landscaping company, right? He was there doing landscaping by himself and expanded it into this little company. He's like a blue collar dude. And they're just like the most salt of the earth, great guys. And they're like, "We need to test this can." I was like, that's exactly what we do. So it lined up, right? And we're going through all the studies right now. They're getting their prototype in January. It's going to be super great, right? I'll send you guys all of that. That might be a good feature, but the guy with the founding story is awesome. The investor, right? He owns a plastics recycling business here in the Northwest. Also drinks beer because I'm drinking beer with him on the golf course. And these are great guys. You got to do it. Great guys. He's from Staten. And but regardless, he put it so well. I was just shanking it on the golf course, and he was just crushing it. And he was like, "You know what's better than a great strategy, Jake? A good one, well executed." So that long story, right back to it, is to that exact quip that I remember to a T when he said that. And it's so damn true, right? Is every theory that we have, every strategy that we develop, if it just executes well, right? A good one executed well is head and shoulders above a great idea that's not executed.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. Well, you have got some really exciting things that you're working on now. I know your business is going through some very cool stuff that I can't wait to get into. But before we do that, Ben, you look a little thirsty, bro.
I am thirsty.
Join us next week for part 2 of this episode. you can be sure we'll be talking more business and drinking more beer. Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.